What's going on, ladies and gentlemen? This is Robert Sykes, KetoSavage.com, and today we're going to talk about my 6,000 calorie 6-month challenge, of which I am throwing in the towel. Let me tell you why. The 6,000 calorie 6 calorie challenge was originally designed to be a 6x6 pillar program in which I put equal emphasis on the nutrition, the training, the relationships, the business, the self/skills, and the mindset. Basically, what's happened is I've put so much emphasis on the nutrition that the others have kind of slacked a little bit, and I hate that because it was supposed to be equal parts on all things. The reason I think that's probably happened is because as a bodybuilder, I tend to gravitate towards the nutrition because I'm a coach. That's just what my constant focus is day in, day out, so I put more of an emphasis on that. And I have worked on some of these things, like for instance, we're building the gym right now, so training's been picking up as of late. The relationships have been good. I've been able to spend some time with the people in my life. The business is booming. We've hired employees and a whole lot of other advancements since this 6-month thing started. And as far as skills, the only thing I've really worked on there is my bow. I got that bow and I've been shooting that pretty regularly. And then mindset, that's kind of not been working. I haven't been doing too much meditating or journaling, so slack in there hardcore. But let's talk about the nutrition here, because I still plan on doing all of these things, but I want to talk about the 6,000 calorie challenge, so I'm going to talk about that. So the main things that I wanted to take away and learn from consuming 6,000 calories for 6 months was I wanted to test for performance, see if that increased, decreased, maintained, what happened there. I wanted to obviously measure my body fat pre and post, see if that's changed. I wanted to measure my blood work, both pre and post the 6,000 calories. I wanted to compare what that was like with carbs, because when I was consuming carbs, there was a period in which I ate 6,000 calories a day in an attempt to build muscle, and I wanted to compare and contrast those two. And then obviously the primary focus was to build muscle at such a caloric surplus. What my takeaways have been from these is, I'll talk about the performance in a little bit. The blood work, I got that initial blood work test with Dr. Ken Berry. I'm gonna get another blood work panel done probably in a month or so it's not gonna be a really accurate depiction of right before starting 6,000 calories and right after ending 6,000 calories, but it should be a pretty clear indicator of what that was like, in that interim. And as far as comparing with the carbs, I've been able to, 3 months, I've been doing 6,000 calories for 3 months, y'all. And everything that I wanted to learn about doing 6,000 calories, I've learned in the 3 months. I don't think I would benefit any from doing it an additional 3 months. For instance, in comparison with when I ate 6,000 calories with carbs, when I ate 6,000 calories with carbs, I got up to 230 pounds and I was just fat. Like I was 29.3% body fat, I believe. And now I'm 185 pounds. I initially got up to like 187, and then I feel like my body reached its threshold at the 6,000 calories, and I've since like pretty much hovered right around 185. Like I've been able to stay at 185 pounds regardless at that 6,000 calorie intake. So I feel like my body's found its upper threshold. That is something I don't think would have happened had I been consuming this from a carbohydrate source. With carbohydrates, I think I would have just gotten fatter and fatter and fatter. With the keto-based 6,000 calories, I've reached my upper threshold, and my body's kind of just leveled out. Right now, I have gotten fatter. I'm about 17.2% body fat currently, which is higher than I've been in a long time. That's based off of DEXA results. As far as building muscle, I definitely have built muscle. All of my primary compound movements, such as bench, deadlift, and squat, have improved. I hit 5 plates on deadlift. I have not been able to hit that in a long time, so that's awesome. And then my bench press, which has always been my weak point, has grown significantly stronger. I'm able to hit heavier weights much more effectively, so I feel really good about that. So let's work over here to the graph. This is kind of an illustration of what these 3 months have looked like. So the red is my caloric consumption. I've pretty much flatlined that at 6,000 calories. So for 3 months, that's been at 6,000 calories. My metabolism started at about 2,500 calories as a maintenance. So prior to this, at about 2,500 calories, my body would maintain its weight, and I'd pretty much be leveled off at that intake. I wouldn't go up in weight, I wouldn't go down in weight. That was my homeostatic point, so to speak. in eating the 6,000 calories, I've noticed my metabolism has increased. There was one stretch there during that 3-month span where I was feeling sick. I didn't get my 6,000 calories in. I was consuming around 4,000 calories and my weight started to drop. Now, was that because I was feeling a little sick? Possibly, but I was still consuming the 4,000 calories and I noticed a decrease in weight. So I can speak pretty confidently in that my metabolism has increased from the 2,500. I feel like it's probably around, between 3,000 and 3,500 now, but I've noticed that starting to level off. My performance had originally increased. It had spiked pretty dramatically. I noticed, more strength, more energy, more stamina, more endurance, more recovery. Just everything got better initially, but that peaked at about the 2-month mark. After about 2 months, I noticed no increase in performance. In fact, I've started to notice a decrease in performance. I feel like my body hit that threshold. It recognized that, okay, we've got a surplus, we've been able to build muscle, we're putting forth more performance, everything's gotten better, but then once I just kept eating that food, it's like that threshold had already been reached, so there's no benefit to eating more, and my body started just fighting me back at that point. It's like, we don't need this much food, you're gonna just start feeling like crap. That's what I did. I started feeling sluggish, I started feeling more tired. I just did not feel optimal. And also, from just an eating standpoint, it reminded me of when I was force feeding myself back in the day. It just became a chore to eat. It became a very unpleasant thing. Force feeding yourself is no fun, and it's just, I wouldn't wish it upon anybody. So I'm glad that that's no longer gonna be an issue. So going forward, what I wanna do is pretty simple, honestly. Like when I spent this past week with Danny and Brian at the farm, we basically ate what we killed. There were days where we didn't eat anything. There were days where we ate a lot. We ate a lot of keto bricks, so my fat ratio was high, but we ate a lot of meat. So pretty simple, really. And I just felt good. I didn't have to try and force feed myself 6,000 calories. Just went back to the basics, kept things simple, ate when I was hungry, ate at a surplus on days that we had food, and performed great. So I kind of want to just go back to that. So going forward, I want to consume between 3,000 calories and 4,000 calories. I intend my performance, it won't flatline, like I just drew that in, it's not gonna flatline, but I feel like it's gonna be north of what it would be had I continued to consume 6,000 calories. My metabolism, I imagine, will stay roughly between 3,000 and 4,000, probably about 3,500 calories, and then my calories are just gonna basically fluctuate between 3,000 and 4,000 calories based on days I'm more hungry or less hungry, always at a surplus, but not such a significant surplus as to be eating 6,000 calories. So that's basically my plan going forward. I kind of hesitated in making this video because I didn't want to throw a towel in on eating 6,000 calories for 6 months. I told you I was going to eat it for 6 months. That's what I intended to do. I'm not one to not want to do what I say I'm going to do, but at the same time, the entire goal for doing this was to improve my performance and build muscle and just maximize my potential. And if I felt, which I have, that started to decrease, then it becomes a moot point. I'm not going to benefit at all from eating 6,000 calories. So I'm going to throw in the towel on eating that much food. I'm still going to be at a surplus. Still going to do a lot of other cool stuff. I'm actually working with Danny Vega right now. We've kind of had some ideas this week. We've got another experiment in the pipeline, so I'll definitely be in touch with you on that. I believe we're going to roll that out January 1st. So more details to come there. But as far as content going forward, it's not going to be a 6,000 calorie 6-month ordeal so much as it is just I'm just going to put out great content for you. I want to focus on the other pillars. I want to focus on relationships, the self skills, the mindset, the training, the nutrition, but not at like the pinnacle of just eating that sheer amount of food. So that's my plan there. I'm sticking to it. Let me know in the comments what you think, and that is all the news I have regarding that. In other news, we have a keto brick launch tomorrow at 10 a.m. Had to throw that little blurb in there. So Danny and I are eating this a lot this past week. We're addicted to them. We're going to launch tomorrow at 10 a.m. Central Standard Time. See you then.